Welcome to the Explainer. You know, if you've ever thought about learning to code, this is pretty much your starting line. Today, we're going to take you from absolute zero to writing your very first program in Python. And we're using a really fantastic beginner's guide from Swirp Talks as our roadmap for this journey.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. The person who created our source material, Swaroop, actually landed 2 awesome internships as a Python developer because of this stuff. So that whole journey, from beginner to actually getting paid to code, it starts right here, with these exact first steps.
All right, so are you ready to kick off your own coding adventure and just see where it takes you? Awesome. Let's dive right in.
Okay, so before we can start bossing a computer around, we kind of need to understand how it thinks. Let's pop the hood for a second and take a quick look at the basic parts that make the whole thing tick.
Right at the heart of it all is the CPU, the central processing unit. This is literally the brain of the computer. And tucked inside that brain is something called the ALU, the arithmetic logic unit. That's the part doing all the heavy lifting. Every single calculation, every logical decision, it all happens right there.
Now, a computer basically has 2 main kinds of memory. You've got RAM, which is volatile. That's a fancy word for temporary. Just think about it like this. You're watching a YouTube video, and your phone dies. Poof, that video stream is gone. That's RAM. Then you have ROM, which is non-volatile or permanent. This is more like a photo you've saved to your phone. It's going to be there even after you power it off and on again.
So, to be super efficient, computers are smart about how they organize all this memory. It's like a pyramid, a hierarchy. Right at the very top, you have this incredibly fast memory called registers, which are literally inside the CPU for whatever it's working on right now. Then, as you go down the pyramid, the storage gets way bigger, but also a bit slower, all the way down to things like your hard drive for long-term storage. This whole layered system gives the computer that perfect balance of speed when it needs it and huge capacity for everything else.
But here's the best part. We don't have to worry about any of this complex stuff ourselves. And that's all thanks to a really important idea in computer science called abstraction. It's a beautiful concept, really. It just hides all the complicated inner workings so we can focus on what we actually want to do.
It's a lot like using an ATM. Think about it. Your goal is just to get some cash, right? You stick in your card, punch in your PIN, and the money comes out. You don't need to know anything about the software running inside, or the network signals, or the little gears turning to push out the bills. That is abstraction, right there in the real world.
Okay, so we get the machine. Now let's talk about the language. How do we actually, talk to it? Well, the way we do that has changed a ton over the years.
Way back in the day, we started with what's called machine language. And I'm talking literally just long strings of ones and zeros. Can you imagine trying to build an app with that? It's nuts. Luckily, we moved on to something called assembly language, which used simple codes instead of just binary. And that eventually led us to where we are today, with high-level languages like Python, which use a syntax that looks a whole lot more like regular English. Thank goodness for that.
But wait, how does our nice English-like code get turned into those ones and zeros the computer actually gets? Well, there are 2 main ways this happens. You have a compiler, which is like a translator, who reads your entire book and then gives you the fully translated version all at once. Then you have an interpreter, who translates your book sentence by sentence as you go. And here's the big difference for us. An interpreter will stop and tell you about a mistake the second it finds one, right on that line.
And that brings us right to Python. See, Python is an interpreted language. And for someone who's just learning, this is a massive advantage. You get feedback immediately. If you mess up on line 5, the program stops right there and tells you, hey, something's wrong here. You don't have to wait for the whole thing to finish compiling just to find out you made a typo.
All right, so with all that important background covered, I think it's time we properly meet our new best friend for this coding journey, Python.
So what's the big deal with Python, anyway? Well, it's a super popular, high-level, interpreted language that is famous for one thing above pretty much everything else: its simplicity. The code is just clean. It's designed to be readable, which makes it incredibly powerful but also ridiculously friendly for beginners.
It's also what's called dynamically typed, which is really just a fancy way of saying it's smart, it's intuitive. In a lot of other languages, you have to spell everything out for the computer like, hey, this variable is going to be a number. With Python, you just write a equals 10, and Python just gets it. It figures it out on its own. It's that easy. And this language isn't just for learning. It's used absolutely everywhere.
I mean, look at this. A whopping 40% of its use is in the super hot fields of AI and machine learning. Plus, it's a total powerhouse for building the back end of websites, creating all kinds of software, and even just automating boring tasks.
So, what does all this mean for you as a beginner? It means you're learning one single language that can do pretty much anything. The syntax is simple enough to pick up quickly, the possibilities for projects are almost endless, and the skills you're building are in crazy high demand in the job market.
Okay, enough talk. We've done the theory. Every hero's journey starts with a first quest, right? And in the world of programming, that first quest is a sacred tradition. It's time to make the computer say, "Hello, world." Okay, if you're on a laptop, you need just two things. First, pop open Google, search for Python, and go to their official website to download the latest version. Now here's a super important tip. During the installation, you're going to see a little checkbox that says Add Python to Path. You have to check that box, seriously. It just lets you run Python from anywhere on your computer, and it will save you so many headaches down the road. The second thing you need is a code editor, and Visual Studio Code is a fantastic, totally free option. And hey, if you're on your phone, it's even easier. So really, there are no excuses. Just open up your App Store, search for something like PyDroid 3, tap Install, and boom, you've got a coding environment right in your pocket.
All right, you ready? Whether you're on your laptop or your phone, open up that new editor and just type this one simple classic line. The print command is just a built-in Python function. It's a basic instruction that tells the computer, hey, display whatever I put inside these parentheses and quotation marks.
Okay, now for the magic moment. Go ahead and run that program. You should see those exact words pop up on your screen. And just like that, seriously, congratulations. You are officially a programmer. You've just written your very first working computer program. How cool is that?
You've done it. You've taken that first crucial step from 0 to 1. But this is just the beginning of a huge adventure. So the only